Hi. It's been a day. It's about 3 a.m. It's a really stupid time for me to be awake. Yeah, so in the end, I'm going to start off this story with in the end. That goes there. Work around the house. Had a barbecue with my family. Blah, blah, blah. Saturday. Fantastic. Labor Day weekend. All wonderful stuff because my family's awesome. I started cleaning up the Lego room, and I see the floor. I actually cleaned off my shelves, which I might show you. I got rid of a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff also has to go. I put stuff in Ziplocs and put it over in the bin to be determined what I'm going to do with those bins. But yeah, I cleaned off the shelf so that there's a lot more space on the shelf. It doesn't look as cluttered as it did. So what I am going to show you right now is my expanded appreciation tokens that have been in the layout. So this is humbling because I got a few more at Brickomania, and so I keep that on the shelf because I really appreciate it. As I was talking to my cousin Rick on from the camping trip that I mentioned the other day, that he does car shows, and without quote unquote trying, he gets first place because he put a lot of effort over the last 50 years into his car. 45. And 48, 38, yeah, for almost 40 years. And it is deserved because again, I'm not a car expert and I wouldn't know, but I see the effort that he put into it. And so he does seem to place at a lot of his car shows. And he has these trophies. But he says he didn't do it for the trophies. He did it because of the love of the vehicle and the passion of refurbishing it and rebuilding it, which is transferable to other hobbies like what this one is, which is something that we love to do, and we have a passion for it. I don't usually meet. I don't think I've ever met a casual AFOL. Now there are AFOLs that are casual, and they are usually parents of kids who the parents buy them Lego and the kids play with Lego and the parents will therefore play with Lego with the kids. So I guess that's a casual way of looking at the hobby, but they usually don't show up at conventions unless they're bringing their kids at conventions and they're the public. They don't usually spend the money and or bring mocks to conventions. What I have seen though, already off on tangents, what I have seen though at the many shows that I've done over the years is that parents or adults show up at a show as an attendee, not as the public, for the first time, and says, I gave up my Lego when I was 12. Here's a standard story. I gave up my Lego when I was 12 because I grew out of it and the dark ages, blah, blah, and I got back into it when I started having kids. And then I read about this online, and I was here for a public show last year or the year before or whatever, and I wanted to attend the convention, and then become passionate fans of Lego like the rest of us. And again, I'm not going to quote Quicksilver, which is a very old movie that nobody has to remember with Kevin Bacon. But sometimes they show up for a show or two and they disappear again, and I'm perfectly acceptable with that because it's their lives and they make their choices as to what they want to spend their time doing. And I will say that attending a convention usually entails bringing something to that. Doesn't necessarily have to be this, by the way. We keep on telling people you don't have to bring something to display at a show. You can attend as an attendee and the symposiums and the workshops and the games and blah blah. But some of the, I will not say complaining, but some of the points these new new people who are our age, who come to a convention as a presenter or as an attendee, um, say that they feel pressure to bring something that's worthy of being at a show, and I get that. By the way, I get that because it is. If you're there at the beginning, it didn't matter as much. That the bar, there was no bar. There wasn't a convention before. Like I wasn't at the very first Brick Fest, and I kind of regret that. But I wasn't at the very first Brick Fest, and so I have no idea. I think I remember seeing some pictures. I have no idea what the attendees brought for the convention for display on public day. Knowing the people that were involved, it was going to be good, but it is demonstrable that as conventions have moved along through the years. I mean, it's been 25 years now of Lego conventions. Over 20. I can't remember when the first Brick Fest was, but I think it was 1998 something, late 90s. I was at 2004, and they already did a bunch of times. so they were doing a few before that. So let's say 25 years ago plus, 25 plus years ago, there have been Lego conventions, and the benchmarks have been progressively getting higher to say this is utterly fantastic. I will say that's just the evolution of things. But my other point would be for the new people, bring what you want or don't bring anything else if that's what you want. There's no pressure to bring something, at least from my point of view. I don't know about other conventions, but every convention I've been to, there has been never pressure. Oh, in order to attend this convention, you must bring something worthy to present at this convention. I've never heard that. There might be some out there that say that, but I've never heard that. So show up, enjoy the time with other geeks that are geeking out over Lego, and don't feel any pressure that you think that you have to bring something that's worthy, because I just at the last show, the last Anime North that I was at, was a new person there, husband and wife, and they came to the Anime North or whatever before, or Bricks in the Six the year before, and they were interested, and they decided to come just sit with us, and that was fantastic because they're just sitting there talking and helping and whatever. But the guy was talking about how he's building his mock, whatever, X mock. I don't know what a mock about X. I don't know what X is. I can't remember, but it was interesting at the time, and I honestly, because of my stupid memory, and it's also 3 o'clock in the morning, I forgot. But he was passionate about this, and he says, "Okay, so I started building it." He goes, "So here's his story. He started building it on a base plate, and he goes, oh, but it got bigger than the base plate, so he added more base, and then it got bigger, and then he realized about modularity and like the shoebox rule and the business box, the letter box that you always have at companies, and there's a special name for it, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but Derek used them extensively to bring his part of the train layout to shows. Bankers boxes, and then so he rebuilt his thing 3 or 4 times. He started building it for this storage container, and then you got a different one. Then you got to tear it apart, rebuild it for that storage container. He says he's gone through 3 or 4 iterations, and I said, dude, that's status quo, like for all of us. As I said, my tower was in a cardboard wardrobe for a few shows, and that was a 4 or 5 foot wardrobe that I had to fit in a van. Was a pain in the butt, which is why I built it smaller. And the wooden boxes was decades after me doing shows. And so I said, you don't have to jump to the wooden boxes at all. That's not the expectation. But this is evolution. It's you. Again, I've tried to say this to everybody. You do what makes you comfortable, straight up, about anything when it comes to your whole life, but especially when it comes to this hobby. Bring something, don't bring something. Whatever makes you comfortable. If you're uncomfortable bringing something, then don't bring anything. If you're uncomfortable not bringing something, then bring something. If you want to bring something small that makes you comfortable, that's perfectly acceptable. You want to bring something big, that's perfectly acceptable to me. But of course, I'm not the organizers, but I try to support people the way I can. And so you bring what you want to bring to a show. And if it's zero, then bring zero. If it's big, then bring big. If it's small, bring small. But for me, the enjoyment of the show is the tantamount reason why you are there. And so you have to think about what's going to make you happy, appreciative of the show, of the entire convention. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Some people just want to be there Thursday and Friday and they skip out on the public days. And all the power to them. That's what they want to do. They don't want to attend the public days. They don't like the crowds. They don't want to interface with the public. Perfectly acceptable. No problem. No pressure that you have to be in the room when the entire 10,000 people from the surrounding areas are descending on to check out the wonderful mocks. Go elsewhere. And usually conventions have symposiums and workshops and games being played in other rooms just for the attendees during public time. I've seen that, which is, I think, is a great idea for those who do not want to be on the floor. For me, since day one, since my first time at a robot competition back in 1998 at Guelph University, I wanted to be right in the middle. I mean, I'm not good there. I'm not good being in the middle, but I want to be in the middle. I want to be right in the middle of things. I don't want to be running things. Although, again, I'm going to mention I did run the hobby show, our portion thereof, and the toy trade and doll shows, or our portion thereof, for many years. And I didn't mind, because again, I didn't have to put a lot of effort into it. I just said, hey guys, we're doing this show. Can you show up? And they showed up. So that was the extent of me organizing other people's mileage. But I was with a fantastic group of people who would just, because this is what they want, they were just as passionate about shows as I was. They showed up with stuff. So I never had to worry about anything. But anyway, so I was talking to this guy, and I said, there is no expectation from my opinion of what should happen. There should be no expectation from a long timer of doing shows for many, many years to a new person beyond, hey, new person, do what makes you feel comfortable, do what makes you happy. And that's all the expectation that I want from me to you. I want you to be happy. I want you to be comfortable with what you're doing at a show. And so if it's bringing nothing, then bring nothing. If it's bringing a lot, then bring a lot. There is nuance here. Like there are certain shows, and I think this is a good rule in a general sense, that they don't want you just to bring sets. And I've talked about that before. There are some conventions that are you cannot just bring sets and display sets, because that's not right. And I won't fault shows for saying that. Excuse me. I will say, because of mine, which is full of sets, that it's there for a reason. And it's just like I mentioned the Star Wars homage at the Brickomania last couple weeks ago, where they took all the original sets and they made vignettes with them. And I thought, this is like the most spectacular thing I've ever seen. So there's a whole table of all these little vignettes from all the different sets. And I'm going, well, I own 3 or 4 of them, but I loved them all. I loved all the vignettes. But that's the convention runners who have these rules, and then you have to follow the rules. But beyond that, show up at a show if you want, and sit back and enjoy it if you want. Talk to people like me who blather on about whatever if you want. Just be comfortable. So there's that. And I have a show coming up in November, which is a few months away. September, October, 2.5 months. 2.5 months. Oh my goodness, I just counted in my head. Which is fine. I highly doubt. I mean, I just fixed that. Oh, there it is, right behind me. I just fixed that octagonal looking level just today, because when I was finished cleaning up in here, I started to take that apart and make it a little better for the wiring. I haven't lit it up yet, and I'm debating whether I'm going to try to light it up, because it was pretty dark right there. So I got 2.5 months to worry about. So that's happening. I have a show in 2.5 months, and that was one of the reasons why I was cleaning up this room, to get ready for that, and to downsize more, and to find stuff to sell at the garage sale. So I'm still working on that. I think I found a few actual sets, older sets. Sorry, none of the Canada Post sets that I have. Although I think I donated a few already to the auctions that Janie used to run. But because I think at peak I had 4 or 5 the vans, the Canada Post vans, not the truck. I only had 2 trucks. I bought one right from the post office in Winona. I actually bought both the 105 and 107 from the post office in Winona, but I also got a bunch in used lots. And at one point I thought I was going to make a nice little vignette, the Canada Post building with those trucks, but that's never going to happen. So tangents and tangents and tangents. Here we go. What I just finished doing is, besides cleaning up the floor, cleaning up the shelves, and getting the floor ready I can do more here. I decided to, because I said I was going to sort out my trans neon orange. For, if it gets too full, then I have overflow. Here's the issue. And I was actually shocked by this. So I have this black light right here. And I got this at Value Village for $7.99 years ago. It's a fluorescent black light, which is fantastic. So, very happy with it. My bin of trans neon orange, which was here, it says trans neon orange and trans orange, was overflowing by a lot. And my issue is that I never really sat down and sorted out the trans orange versus the trans neon orange. And of course, anybody, because I don't care, the trans neon orange came in multiple flavors throughout the years. Some of it's more milky and some of it's more transparent, blah blah. I just don't care. I put them all in the same bin. But I did separate trans orange from trans. So this is trans orange, and this is trans neon orange here. I found out that I didn't have any overflow of trans neon orange. Like, all my small trans neon orange pieces fit right in here, and there's space. I thought I had more, but it's because it was all mixed up with this stuff, the trans orange. I thought this was all trans neon orange, but for an hour or two tonight or more, I had no lights on here except for the black light, and I was taking the trans orange and the trans neon orange and separating them. So now I have this bag full of trans orange and these bag full of big trans orange pieces, and I have the trans neon orange here, and I have the big piece of the trans neon orange here. So that's what I did, but what I could say is that, but this is where this is where my problem is that I have a very good and dear friend who has donated lots of trans neon orange to me. So, because he keeps on saying, Dave, you have to build like an ice planet layout or something, and I'm going, I really want to. just never happens. But I got about 20 of these pieces in here, and I got a few of those, and then again I have to fix my aqua sharks. I got this used lot, and I know there's supposed to be 2, but it's a General Grievous thing. I got like lots of those and this is of course after I reconstituted all my ice planet sets and even more. So I even have these quarter panels, and I think I might have 2. Do I have 2 or just 1? I had 2. No, I just got 1. So I can't build another deep freeze Defender. And I have 1 garage door, which I put in my garage door bin. 1 trans neon orange garage door, and I think the deep freeze Defender comes with 4. So, but I had fun tonight. I'm gonna say that black light makes everything fun. Um, and so this is my transient orange. So that's not separated out. And I just put all my Technic transient orange pieces in here because I'll never use them for anything. But anything that has an axle hole went in there. And then I have two pieces that I cannot remember which Jedi and or Bionicle these things came off of, or Hero Factory. It doesn't matter to me. But those are transient orange. So I did that, and I have no spares. So, I mean, I have this whole length of just transient orange flames, but, and I definitely don't need that many transient orange flames, or this many of transient orange antennas and those other things. So, I mean, I could get rid of some of those, but this is the perfect bin, and it's nice and full of just transient orange. So I am not going to be getting, oh, the other thing is just these things, like so many of them. And it's like, I don't remember this thing coming in, like a lot of these coming in the Ice Planet sets. So I'm just trying to figure out if these things came in other sets, because I have, and 2 extra doors in here, which means that somewhere over there, I'm sure I got 2 transient orange boxes, and I got 2 spare doors here. The tangents upon tangents and tangents. The one thing that I did find, again, as you always, is that these things are so freaking breakable now. There's one that's broken there. And I just put them in there and I broke one. It's like, really? So, I kept it in there. I broke too many. So I'm not going to be able to sort out my transient orange for any garage sale or for anybody. But I will say, for my friends that are watching this that want some transient orange, just let me know what parts you want. And if they didn't come from my friend from Germany, you can have them. The parts that my friends from Germany sent me, I'm going to keep, and I'm going to build something, because I said I was going to. I don't know when I'm going to build it. Probably not in 2025. So let's go into that topic, because this is a video of tangents. I have a million things in my head. It's just a disaster up there in my head of things I want to do, should do, and blah, blah, blah. I did say at the show, and Sandy and I have been talking about this, that I mentioned this before, and I went a whole video about it. But November will be the last time I'm putting the layout out, unless there's a special reason for it, because it is heavy. Now, I have thought about ways of getting around that, like getting rid of the melamine and just going with like 1/4-inch plywood that's, cut and layered, so it's a lot less weight and does exactly the same thing. So I might try that, because again, it's the moving of the boxes. The setting up of the layout is not a huge problem overall. When the layout smashed to pieces right before the show last time, I wasn't worried about it, because I could put it back together. It's the absolute moving of it. From the garage into the van, from the van into the show, and this is the huge problem that I have, is that it is freaking heavy. It is, and I'm right now, even after all the work I did today, my back is saying, "What are you doing?" Although on the flip side, I mentioned my buddy, my cousin Rick, who is a really good friend of mine, that he is like 9 years older than me. He's one of my older cousins, and he is fit as a fiddle, as they say, because he does all this work. He's been retired for a little bit. He does all this work. He built his house. He goes down the street to help other neighbors build up sidings and stuff. Like, he's just, like, most of my relatives, including my uncles, are unstoppable. It just drives me crazy, because like, my back is saying, "What are you doing?" So, but I am trying to get in some sort of better shape than I am now, because if I let my physique go now, it's going to be harder as I get older to get it back. So I don't mind doing work that's going to be beneficial to my health in the long run. So, but I'm weighing it, because it took me a couple of days after the show to get where I could actually move properly again. And again, today with all the work I did around the house and blah, blah, I did some stuff in the garage, that I feel it now. So it's like, and I think the more I work and do stuff and make my muscles move again, because again, I have been pushing a keyboard for the last 33 years for work, that my body would kind of spring back to the way it was when I used to go mountain biking all the time and all that stuff. But I'm not feeling it right now. My body is saying, what are you doing? Find a lazy boy and watch Star Trek. So it does come down to, for me, for all the me talking and bloviating right now, that seems to be going nowhere. It feels like I'm going nowhere. I want to. Oh, yeah, that's fun. I want to continue doing stuff that gets me moving and gets active. But also, I don't want to strain myself, because if I break something right now, I mean, I'm not 80, but if I break something right now or hurt something right now, then it's going to be harder and longer for me to heal. And so I'm trying to really, really be cognizant, very, very much aware of what my body is doing, which I've never had to be before, because I'm the guy who would just flip over his own feet, fall and break my finger. It's like, whatever, walk it off, and then it heals in a couple weeks and you move on. But now I'm older, and I realize that as I'm older, it takes my body a lot longer to heal. There's a longer time involved now for any kind of healing. And I've actually physically noticed that now. So it's like I just can't bounce back the way I used to. But I also don't want my psychology, psychosis, not psychosis, my psychology to say, if I start thinking I'm old, I'm going to be older. So there's a balance that I have to come up with that says, if I start thinking I'm old, then my body's going to say you are old. So that's a path I don't want to go down. But in the end, November will be the last time, unless it's a special occasion, that I'm going to put out the layout. But with the proviso that if I come up with a way of making the layout lighter and easier to transport. I mean, the boxes was step one. The boxes were a godsend. Some friends of mine at the show, and Bricklemania we're talking about, I can get different boxes, because the boxes are heavy. I mean, it's 1/2-inch plywood. But I find the boxes themselves, they're pretty light. They're 1/2-inch plywood. Like a 1/2-inch plywood sheet at 4x8 is easy for me to carry still to this day. And that's a 4x8 sheet, that's awkward. These boxes have handles on them. So it's like, the boxes themselves are so easy to carry, move around because of the handles, and they're pretty convenient size. It is the melamine right now. The 9 pieces of melamine that are 20 inches by 30 inches. And there's like 4 in one box and 4 in the next box. So it's 8 there. And then the 9th one somewhere else. Those are heavy. And so if I can get that down to just 1/4-inch plywood, that has a lip around it that keeps the landing pads. Because, okay, so let's talk about this, the actual logistics of it. So each melamine piece is 20 by 30. I remember buying just the 4x8 sheets and cutting them up. So they're 20 inches by 30 inches, which is 2 base plates by 3 base plates. Those are 9 melamine pieces, 20 by 30. And they're 1/2-inch thick. And melamine is just stupid heavy to begin with. It's just the way that they build it. It's stupid heavy. But I want it to be perfectly flat. Now, melamine, and I know this, people, if it gets wet. Yeah, if it gets wet, then melamine's done, because it's just glued together. I mean, melamine is just glued particles together with a nice sheet of white, I don't know what, on top and on the bottom. So it's perfectly smooth and perfectly flat, and it doesn't bend a lot, especially 1/2-inch stuff. So that's why I bought it, because I wanted the integrity of flatness, because monorail, I found out over the years, especially going way back to when Jeff and I were doing this just on across tables, and the tables were inherently never level with each other, because that's just the status quo of tables that you get at a show. And it was always a pain in the butt to try to get the monorail to work, even the train track to work on a 2 or 3 tables across, when the table, and you're crawling underneath and you're shimmying them up with cardboard underneath the feet to try to get the tables all even. And I said, this has got to stop. It has to stop, because that was that took up so much time just to make the tables level enough to run monorail track, especially when you got monorail track that are 3 or 4 layers high. And it was just so painful because the tables were notoriously uneven, which is the biggest frustration, which is what led to the boxes in the first place, because the boxes were just for storage, but the boxes were also the stand for the table. That I don't care how bad the floor is. Like we went to that soccer dome in Bricklemania 2 years ago, where we're on top of like AstroTurf. I didn't care. It didn't matter to me at all. I don't have table legs that are going to sink into the AstroTurf. I had those boxes that are 20 by 20. I mean, they're not going to sink into anything. They're going to float on top of whatever. And then you put the table rails, the bed rails on top of that. So no matter how, even if it's a 1/4 inch out or 1/2 inch out from one side to the other, didn't matter. The top is going to be perfectly flat. It might not be level to the ground, but it's going to be perfectly flat. And I've since I built the boxes and that the tabletop for the layout, I've never had one problem at all, no matter how uneven the floor is, because it doesn't matter. so that's been a godsend, and so anyway, so if I get a 1/4 inch plywood, maybe the actual the cheap stuff's pretty light, but get a 1/4 inch plywood, and then you cut 1 inch strips to do the perimeter around the 20 by 30. So that's lighter. That's half the weight of the 1/2 inch plywood, basically. And then I can run my wires, because right now the wires are between the melamine and the base plate. And you can see wherever the wires are, those base plates are like a 1/8 of an inch higher than the base plates that are taped to the melamine, because I have to run the wires to where the lights are. So I'm thinking this is going to get rid of a lot of my issues if I do it this way, 1/4 inch plywood with a perimeter around it to make it 1/2 inch. So it's the same thickness as the existing melamine. And then I'm going to be able to run all the wiring in that void, that 1/4 inch void. And that'd be perfect. This is in my head. This has been in my head for a while now. so I want to try it. I want to go get a piece of plywood. I want to get a 1/4 inch piece of plywood, rip it up. I got all the woodworking tools here to do that, and I love doing that woodworking crap, as you know. Rip it up and then give it a shot, and then rewire things. That's an idea. But then I have to do this 9 times. 9 times, Mrs. Bueller. I have to do this 9 times. And it's like, and then I started thinking, is this going to be strong enough to hold up the tower? Because the tower is pretty heavy. But I'm thinking, but I got the joist going across. So this is the thousands of conversations in my head. But I got the joist going across. The joist are actually going to be taking the weight. The 1/4 inch plywood is not going to be taking the weight. So I was like, oh, so I have all these ideas in my head as to what I want to do. It's just that I don't get around to doing. And so tonight was a big step, getting my trans orange and trans neon orange sorted out, which is step 1 in the 500 steps that I got between now and November to get things ready. So life is continually in flux. That's the only thing I can say right now. My life is totally in flux right now. I don't know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow about this stuff, but I'm sure I'm going to be doing something. I'm going to putter a lot to finish this room. Josh really does want to move down here, so that's a winter project. So that's going to have to work into the mix. I have to take all this down and put it somewhere, and then move Josh down here, and then move all the way up to his bedroom, which is fine, because that's going to really clean things up and really get to the point where I'm going to have to get rid of stuff, even though I've figured out where I'm going to put. All this can't fit in Josh's room, but I don't want it to fit in Josh's room. So there's a lot going on. I'm going to be fine with it. It's way past 3. So I'm going to wrap this up. I hope I haven't been too incoherent. I've tried to enunciate. I know that when I get really tired, I have a tough time with enunciation, so I do apologize for that right now. It is what it is. That's it. I think I finished all the tangents. Brought them all together in one cohesive bow, and there you go. My hope, really, sincerely, is that everybody out there is doing well. and that you're taking the time for yourself that you need for yourself to find your center, find your zen, whatever you want to find. Um, be happy with who you are. I really, again, this has always been repetitive to me. When I run into family and friends after not seeing them for a very, very long time and we play catch up, I really appreciate the people in my life. And um, we ain't getting any younger, so appreciate it now. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? I plan on being here for the next 40 years. You're stuck with me for at least 40 years. I want to beat my granddad. He made it to 92, and I'm gonna, so I better start some exercise. That's it. That's all. You guys all stay safe, take care, and I will talk to you soon.